I have been wanting to do this video at least 15, 20 years ago. At least two occasions um, were very important in the sense that they pushed me to do this video. That was about 10 years ago or 12 years ago when I first came to know about Chetan Bhagat and how he has been inspiring the Indian youth. But somehow I didn't do that. The second, almost the more recently, is the time when the University of Madras invited me, the psychology department, to give a couple of talks on Indian psychology. And it was well received. And at that time, I saw about 600 people, young people, university people attending the talk. I thought I would do that at the time, but I did not do it. But now seems to be a time of reflection for me to get some things done that I have been postponing. My specialty is Hinduism. I just came to the US to do my PhD in Hinduism. And I had great advantage here because I could take courses in the medical school, provided I could convince my doctoral committee that I needed training in biology and also neuroscience in order to give a proper understanding of one area I was working on was the headedness, so the Shiva having 5 heads and his son Kartikeya having 6 heads and Brahma having 4 heads. They really referred to the brain anatomy and physiology as well. But I was able to also present a paper later on while I was still a graduate student. Now at this age, I'm 100% convinced that Hinduism is a science of superintelligence. And I don't know where to start. Let me start with what Shiva said about knowledge in Shiva Sutra. It's a great text, everybody should read it. And in Shiva Sutra, Shiva says, Jnanam bandhaha. Knowledge is bondage. Okay. You find similar concepts later on more fully developed in Zen Buddhism, where they say that knowledge is not that good. There's a famous Zen Buddhism concept which says, when you know, you don't know. When you don't know, you know. So knowledge is prejudice. And if you don't have the knowledge, then you will have what? Superintelligence. So knowledge is a prejudice. It is bandha, it's binding, it's bondage. And Indian mystics also have said, you have to lose ignorance and you have to lose also knowledge, like Arunagiri, a Tamil mystic says, அறிவற்று அறியாமையுமற்றதுவே. That what did Muruga, the son of Shiva, who has the 6 heads, give him? He gave him a level of intelligence in which knowledge was lost, ignorance was lost. And when knowledge was gone and ignorance was gone, and he was in a state of a higher intelligence. When I was giving a talk to the University of Madras, I was alluding to Ramanujan, the great mathematician. And he was able to get answers to mathematical problems, not through steps. He bypassed all the steps and then gave the results. And this created a lot of problem for the Western mathematicians who wanted the steps. Okay, that your conclusion is right, but what are the steps? We can't challenge your conclusion, but we need the steps. And he said, I don't know the steps. And he told Professor Hardy, if you want the steps, you can write it down. But I don't have the steps, and I don't want to spend time on it either. And how did you arrive at it? He said, I got it from Lakshmi, from Namagiri Peta. Namagiri is a town in Tamil Nadu, where the goddess Lakshmi is the family deity of Ramanujan. So that the goddess can come and give you infinite wisdom is not a matter of mythology, or it happened in the case of Kalidasa, but it happened in recent times, in our own times. And that's what Ramanujan was saying, that I got it from her. And you have several other stories in different regional states in India, the goddess or the god interfering and giving you the highest intelligence. And in this case, Jnanam Bandhaka was also given to Vasugupta by Shiva himself. So get beyond knowledge, and you can get into wisdom. And even Patanjali's Yoga Sutra starts with Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is stopping the Chitta Vritti. Chitta Vritti is the mind expansion through thought forms. So they knew that, even Patanjali knew, that thoughts are the problems. We have now we can count the thoughts to about 35 to 50 thoughts per minute. So there is a bug in the system. That's why we are creating thoughts like crazy. So Chitta Vritti Nirodha is a very important concept. You have to stop. In the second, the sutra following the Chitta Vritti Nirodha, Patanjali says, why do you have to stop the thoughts? Because then only you can see the self, Swarupa. So our real Swarupa, our real self, is the quantum ground state that quantum physics talks about, in which there is infinite power, infinite knowledge, infinite energy. Knowledge is anxiety, and it is limitation. That's why when you don't know, you know. When you know only very limited reality. There is advantage being in a state of unknowingness. If we remain quiet, that's why yogis go and meditate for years and years in order to make the mind to disappear. There is a story about this Buddhist saint who went to his master. Master, I'm trying very hard to get rid of my mind. Will you help me? Yeah, it's very easy. I'll give you some time, a month. Just do one thing during this month, look for the mind. And then, when you come back to see me, come with the mind, then I will stop it. 1 month later, he came, and the master asked, did you bring your mind? He said, no. Why? Because I looked for it, it was not there. If you just focus attention on looking for the mind for a month, you certainly will end up in getting to know that the mind doesn't exist. It exists only when you are unconscious. When you are conscious, the mind will not be there. It's a story about Raman Maharshi. Somebody went to Raman Maharshi and said, Raman Maharshi, you ask us to meditate. But the problem is, the moment I sit down to meditate, there are millions of thoughts coming. So I get up and I couldn't meditate. The Raman Maharshi said, I have the same problem with thoughts, but a different one. My problem, he said, is again with the thoughts, but my problem is how to get a thought, how to pull a thought into my mind. It's all a matter of training. It's a matter of training the mind. We don't need 35 thoughts. We don't need. If we can live with, say, 5 to 10 thoughts maximum, then we can conserve a lot of our energy. A point comes, then you have the understanding that Aham Brahmasmi, I am God, I have the super intelligence. And this is the easiest way to gain power, to gain higher intelligence. And if the Indian youth can focus attention on studying intelligence, then they can understand that there is nothing that is impossible. Even a classical text like Patanjali's Yoga Sutra can do a lot. You can get city powers all by working with your consciousness. You can do a samyama intelligence and then get whatever you want. Samyama is a special way of focusing concentration. So I thought I would do uh, some more videos and see how it goes, and then I will take it from there. And if there is interest among the youth to understand what is intelligence, the intelligence is already in you. So everybody is born with, after all, 100 billion neurons. Every child. And there is pruning that happens as it grows. And then there are a lot of problems that we go through during the process of growth. During the adolescence period, there are new neurons coming up, and those neurons have to be properly trained against the pleasure areas of the brain. The nucleus accumbens, reward, pleasure, reward, which is historically in conflict and competition with the orbitofrontal cortex, which is the decision-making brain. So the emotional brain is taking over. So all this can be controlled through the meditation practices. So in fact, meditation has to be taught as a neuroscience, hormones. And that way we can update even Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Shiva Sutras, and other texts as well. Let me stop here, and then we'll see how things develop. God bless.